everybody, it's Lisa Freeman here with stampingwithlisa.com, and thanks for joining me today. Today I'm going to show you some great tips that I have discovered while using the Springtime Foil Specialty Designer Series paper. That's one of the free items in the second celebration available things. So this came out the middle of February, but I just got my paper not too long ago. There are a few different things in here. This is one of the sets, Eclectic Expressions. I haven't tried that one out yet. And then this is the paper that I just fell in love with. That's called Springtime Foil Specialty Designer Series paper. And I should have brought the pack over here with me, but you get 3 sheets of each of these. There's 3 sheets of the polka dot, the flowers, the stripes, and the leaves. The polka dot one is like a champagne embossed color, and so is the flower one. The stripes are silver, and then this one is like silver and gold. And I did bring the stripe one, so this is what the stripes look like up close. And you can see it's embossed with silver. The flowers have that kind of rose gold. I think it's called champagne. The shimmer paper that we have, the foil paper that we have that matches it. But it's so pretty, and I took that whole sheet right here and cut it apart into different sections, and that's what I'm going to show you what I did with it today. Then we've got this basket bundle, which is free with the $100 order. You get the basket stamp set and the embossing folder, the basket weave embossing folder, which I love. And these are just some other things from the other celebration mini catalog. And this ends in about 2 weeks, so you only have a couple weeks left to get all these items for free. And I'm really hoping that Stampin' Up! Brings a pack of this paper similar to this back in the new catalog, because this is probably one of my favorite things that have ever come out. So let me show you how I did this card. I'll show it to you up close. This is this paper right here, the striped. And as you can see, I colored it. This is Island Indigo. So I sponged it with Island Indigo to give it that color. So that is the greatest thing about it. You can sponge it any color you want. And when I first started using this paper, I was using the Stampin' Blends, the new alcohol markers we have. And I was finding I really didn't like them with this paper. And I do love the Stampin' Blends. I use them for a lot of other things, but with this paper, I just didn't like the way they were coming out. So I decided to go back and use the regular markers that I haven't used in a long time and see how they worked, and I was much happier with the results with the regular markers. So, and I also wanted to show you one other one too. So this one was one that my friend Melissa made, and in this one she actually used the blender pen and the ink that you get on the lid when you squeeze it. You know how you do that, and then get some the ink in there. And then you take the blender pen, one of these, and you just dip it in there and color it. And I liked that okay, but it wasn't my favorite either. So I decided after we made this card the other day that I wanted to try the markers with it. And I really was excited with how that came out. These are 2 that I made with the Stampin' Blends, and they're really pretty. I like these cards a lot. But it's hard to blend them with this paper because it's glossy, and it dries really quickly, and it just didn't seem to blend very well. So I did this one, what was the raspberry, and this one in the Night of Navy blends. So those, but I sponged this with Night of Navy ink. So that's 2 samples with the Stampin' Blends. And this one I did with the actual regular markers. This is Marina Mist, and so I sponged this foil piece with Marina Mist, and then I colored with the Marina Mist markers, the regular markers. And then this is Old Olive marker. And this one that I'm going to show you, I did with the Island Indigo. So this is Island Indigo marker, regular marker, Island Indigo sponged, Old Olive marker, regular. And then I stamped this Best Wishes. That's from that stamp set from the Occasions catalog. And the Best Wishes was right there. And then I used this little framelit right here. I don't know if you can see that. Am I in the camera or not? Hopefully. I can't see the camera, but it's this one right here that punched out the one for the words. And that's on page 23. All right, so let's get started with this one. What I did was I took the whole page of the flower ones and I just cut them up into flowers and leaves and everything. And then I just went through and picked out different ones and then kind of matched them up. So when I did it in class today and they absolutely loved it. It was everybody's favorite card. And you can even use the ones that are just partial leaves and stick them behind stuff, because you could color that and just stick it behind that and you would never know it was just a piece of a leaf. All right, so I picked out some ahead of time here. Actually, this is another one I just colored. This one I colored with the Stampin' Blends too. That's the raspberry one. All right, so here's two that I picked out. And I decided I'm going to use the Island Indigo for one of them, and then I'm going to pick a different marker to do the other one. So all you do, and this is super easy. Remember, when you use any markers, you always want to use the side of the marker. You never want to use the tip of the marker because that'll wear down your tip. And this could not be easier. You're just going to go, don't worry about staying in the lines or anything. Just go right across this like this. And just color it. Now, if you were doing a big piece that you didn't want to go out of lines, yeah, you could actually be more careful, but it doesn't matter. All right, so I've colored it like that. Now, the only problem with the markers is they don't dry all the way on here like this. So here's the trick. You take it and just turn it over on your paper and dab it off. That'll take off most of the excess ink. You can let that dry, and that should dry in a little bit, but if it's not all the way dry, then just take a little paper towel and kind of blot it, or you can rub it, either one, and that will definitely take off any excess ink. So you get that look to it. And it does not matter because we're going to cut this out. So none of this outside stuff matters. And all of your rose gold embossing will show through too. So we're going to cut that out in just a minute. And then for the leaves, do the same thing. So for the leaves, I just went like this. And I don't think I'm going to get all the way down in that curve right here, but so I'm not going to scribble across that. But you can go out of the lines if you want to. All right, and again, just flip it over, dab off the excess, and then just wipe it with a paper towel. I'm just going to do that for fast because I want to be fast here for the video. But if you are not in a hurry, you can let it dry, and it does look really cool. And I wanted to show you another color. This is Berry Burst. Let me get the fat tip. All right, so for Berry Burst, do the same thing. I'm just going to kind of hurry this up. I just don't want to get it on that leaf right there. All right, so go straight across. And voila, that took less than like 2 seconds. And then dab it. And it really kind of makes a pretty picture here. And I like that little speckly look there, but that is wet ink. So just dab it off. Oops, I got a little bit on the leaf there. But that'll get covered when I color it. All right, and then let's color the leaf. And some of these flowers, I really didn't like the way the flowers and the leaves were together, so I just actually just snipped these apart. So I'm going to snip these off in just a second. And you could, if you wanted to, you can just go like this. You don't have to worry about it, but and dab that off. And wipe it. All right, so now everything is totally dry to the touch, so you're not going to get that ink all over your fingers. Then I would just cut this out. And then I want to show you how I did this piece too. This is the foil. And I just took my, oops. This is Island Indigo, and I've got an Island Indigo sponge. And you're just going to sponge it. And the more you sponge it, the smoother it'll get. So if you're just sponging a little bit, it's going to be kind of blotchy. So I need to move this over here. All right, and then when I go to turn it around, I don't want to get my fingerprints here, so I'm just going to take this, let me get a clean one. I'm just going to take a clean paper towel and set it there for a minute. I have glitter all over my ink pad. I just noticed this. All right, and you can put as much or as little as you want. The more you put, the more vibrant it's going to be. And then I'm just going to turn that around and put a little bit more on this side so that they're even. Okay, and then just give it a little wipe just to make sure it's totally dry. So now this piece is dry too. So there's our background, and I cut this piece in case you want to make this exact card. I cut this piece at 5 by 3 3/4, and then I cut this piece 4 by 5 1/4, and my white piece is 8 1/2 by 5 1/2. So just fold this in half. These two you can glue together. Oops, just ran out of tape. Let me put a refill in here. All right, and then I want to put some ribbon around here. And I want to save enough room to put my words. Let me tape this. And hopefully I'm still in this picture. I know sometimes when I do a video, this thing moves and then it'll get out of the camera range. That's straight, yep. Okay. Alrighty. And then what I did, I wanted something right here to put behind the flowers. So I took 2 punches. I've got the 2 1/2 and the 2 1/4. So the 2 1/2, I'm gonna cut out. This is our the vellum, the one that's heavy. I don't know what it's called. Thick vellum, maybe. So that's 2 1/2. And then I'm going to do 2 1/4 out of the white paper. This is just regular Whisper White. Oh, I wanted to show you another tip real quick. This is how I store my markers. I do have the big giant holder, but and most of my markers are stored in color families. So I'm not actually color families, but color. So I have all the blue ones in one, all the red, pink ones in another one, all the yellow and orange ones in another one. But these are kind of extra ones. I just threw in this one. But these are our large cases that the stamps come in, and they are really handy to store stuff. So I wanted to show you that real quick. All right, so the vellum, I'm just going to glue to the white, and so it looks like that. Oops, I just got ink on it. That's all right, that'll be covered. All right, and then glue that down right over here. All right, and then we're going to make a faux bow right here. And this ribbon I absolutely love. This is so pretty. This is in the big catalog too. So just snip that. And I left enough room down here for my words, so I wouldn't run out of space. All right, so this one, I just need to cut it out if I can find some scissors. Don't even tell me my scissors are gone. You've got to be kidding me. Oh, here they are. Okay, so I'm going to snip this one off right here. I don't like these leaves the way they are. Okay, and we're going to just pretend we're fast forwarding through this just a little bit so it doesn't take very long. Let me tell you about the weather we're having here. It's been about maybe in the 40s and 50s every day here in Virginia. And I live in Chesapeake, which is right next to Virginia Beach, if you're familiar with the East Coast. And all of a sudden yesterday, it was raining, and out of nowhere, we started getting a blizzard. And I am not kidding, it was the biggest snowflakes I've ever seen. And within about 2 or 3 hours, we had like 3 inches on the ground. And I was at work last night, and I had to drive home in that stuff. And I'm telling you what, I was like literally terrified driving in that mess last night. And then today, of course, it all melted, but I'm glad for that. But hopefully within the next week or so, we will actually get some spring weather, and I can start doing yard work. And it's funny because all the flowers have already bloomed because we had some warmer weather just a couple weeks ago, and all the flowers bloomed, all the trees are blooming. Everything looks good, and then we get a blizzard right in the middle of that. So everybody's probably going to be sick now again. I think I've had a permanent cold most of the winter, it seems like. All right, so. Oh, and I wanted to show you too, sometimes you get these little edges when you're cutting stuff out, and there's little edges of stuff that are left that you think, oh, I can't really use that, I'm going to throw it away. Well, you can still use this. Just put this one after you cut it out. Let me just cut it real quick and I'll show you. And once you cut these out, you've got all these little pieces that are like half ones, but you can stick them behind everything. So like this one could go in back of, say if this one was the same color, or you could do 2 different colors. You could put it like that, and so you can't even tell that that's really cut off there. It'll just be hidden in back of it. And I only colored one of these, so no, I don't want to waste your time watching me color another one. But all you have to do is just stamp your words, put them down here. And remember, this comes from that framelit set that I just showed you a minute ago. And then what I did was I taped this flower down first, and I popped this one up with a dimensional. And then the leaves, I just put tape on them and stuck them underneath wherever I wanted them to go. So that's all there is to it, and it is super easy. But I just wanted to share those tips with you, and the markers really work well on this as long as you dab them off the excess ink. And you get a really muted look. I'll put that up close to the camera so you can see it. But I think it is so pretty. And you can still see all the rose gold embossing with that too. And then I'll put the other ones in case you want to take a picture of these. I'll put this one. And this one was done with the Stampin' Blends again. This one was done with the Marina Mist markers and Old Olive. This was the Night of Navy Stampin' Blends and the Old Olive Stampin' Blend. And this one was with, I think it was Pink Pirouette and the blender pen. And it was just Pink Pirouette and the ink pad and the blender pen. And this one was made by my friend Melissa. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed these tips and the samples, and I hope you will try to make one of these cards too. And you can only get this paper for another 2 weeks, so make sure you put in your order for at least $50 to get it for free. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for stopping by, and y'all have a great day.